countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade.
In the 48 hours after Donald Trump's so-called Liberation Day, the 2/3 of Americans with money in the stock market were indeed liberated from net profit and their retirement funds. We saw on Thursday and Friday, after Donald Trump's announcement that he would impose mass tariffs, a minimum of 10% across the board, a $6.5 trillion wipeout in market capitalization. Monday became one of the most volatile trading days in decades. And why? Because nobody knows what President Trump's end goal is.
We're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again, and we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. The problem is they cheat. They cheat like crazy. Canada cheats, Mexico cheats, just one of those things. But we are resetting a table, and we're going to have great trade.
When Donald Trump unveiled his quote-unquote reciprocal tariffs, he used an algorithm that seemed odd to some people because it didn't bring up other countries' tariff rates at all. Instead, it was simply an algorithm of a country's trade deficit with us divided by imports. That doesn't include the retaliation that other countries actually do have on us. It's how you wound up with weird formulas like the Trump administration's accusation that Taiwan tariffs us 64%, when in reality, they tariff us 6%. Ditto for Japan, which they accused of tariffing us 46%. Japan only tariffs us 4%. While investors were licking their wounds over the weekend, the White House was giving out mixed messaging. You had Peter Navarro going on Fox News saying this isn't a negotiation, this is just about undoing a trade deficit. But is a trade deficit such a bad thing? For most countries, it's totally neutral. It doesn't really matter if you have a trade surplus or a trade deficit. For America, it's a net benefit. We have a $36 trillion national debt that is exclusively financed by the fact that we are the net buyer of goods around the world. We send out trillions of dollars worth of cash each year, and in turn, other countries, the ones whose goods we now want to tariff, give us those dollars in treasury bonds, keeping those yields low and the American cost of borrowing near zero. Now, what's happened on Monday when you have more than 50 countries publicly going to the White House saying, fine, we're taking your threat seriously. We're debating having zero trade deals. That is, zero tariffs in exchange for zero tariffs. President Trump has been running out the clock. The reciprocal tariffs are set to go into effect on Wednesday, midnight, April 9th. But if he's able to stall before then and unveil even one trade deal, you could see a market renaissance and resurgence unlike any that we've seen before. And why? Because he's clearly committed to tariffing China. On top of the 54% tariffs that he announced originally last week, he's now saying he will add another 50% on China if they don't take off their retaliatory tariffs. If you're playing 3D chess here, that's the end goal. Make China suffer triple-digit tariffs while brokering deals with everyone else. But this is the big if. Donald Trump himself has expressed this incredibly confusing Navarro zero-sum mercantilist logic, the idea that a trade deficit is in and of itself a bad thing. We all know, and it was evidenced earlier in this administration, that tariffs are a powerful threat. We were able to get Mexico from importing some of the worst southern border crisis, both on the basis of illegal migrants and illegal drugs, down to a March recorded figure of just 7,000 illegal immigrants, the lowest in recorded American history. And that was because of the tariff threat. But once you actually pull the trigger, that's a very different game. Up in our northern border, we have the new liberal Prime Minister, Mark Carney, who's openly saying he's happy for a new world order where America doesn't lead. And if anything, he could use this as an excuse to get closer to China and open up Canada to more Chinese markets as we weaken the USMCA trade bloc. What will happen? It all depends on the civil war within the White House. It's why you had Elon Musk discussing with the Italians that he looks forward to having a 0-0 trade bloc with the United States and the European Union. Will Donald Trump bite? If he does, it could cement the Trump renaissance, a remaking of global economy that re-ices China out and cements America on top. If he doesn't, if he runs out the clock and allows April 9th to happen without a deal, the stock market rout could be one of the worst self-inflicted wounds in presidential history.